Unlike the 14-inch model, there's no base M4 option with the 16-inch MacBook Pro, making the M4 Pro toting model the entry-level choice. It features a 14-core CPU with 10 performance cores, 4 efficiency cores, and a 20-core GPU. The base model also comes with 24 GB of unified memory with a bandwidth of 273 GB per second, and you can configure it to come with 48 GB, though you'll need to up the M4 Pro chip to the model with a 16-core CPU. If you go for the M4 Max, that starts at 36 GB of memory and can be configured with 48 GB, 64 GB, and 128 GB. Memory bandwidth is also increased to 410 GB per second for the 14-core CPU M4 Max and an absolutely huge 546 GB per second bandwidth for the 16-core CPU model. Putting jargon aside, any model of this year's MacBook Pro 16-inch is going to offer excellent performance for pretty much any task. According to Apple's own numbers, which should obviously be taken with a degree of salt, you should see around 2 to 3 times the performance of an Intel MacBook and double that of the M1 Pro MacBook. The gap between the M3 Pro and M4 Pro is less pronounced, which, considering the M3 Pro only came out last year, is not too surprising. The model of 16-inch MacBook Pro Apple sent me to review is the version with a 14-core CPU, 20-core GPU, and 48 GB memory, so essentially the mid-range model. In our benchmark tests, the M4 Pro MacBook Pro saw a decent bump in numbers compared to an M3 Max model, such as in Geekbench 6, where the multi-core score was 23,030 compared to the M3 Max's 21,345. Not a groundbreaking difference, admittedly, but it shows a reliable increase in performance between generations. I certainly wouldn't recommend anyone with an M3 Pro MacBook Pro, or even an M2 Pro, shelling out to upgrade to the M4 Pro model based on these results. Of course, synthetic benchmarks only tell a part of the story, and in my time using the MacBook Pro 16-inch, M4 Pro, 2024, I was extremely impressed with the overall performance. macOS Sequoia ran fast and smooth, and there was no sign of lag or slowdown even when I had several apps open at once, including the Chrome web browser with almost 20 tabs open. The new MacBook Pro 16-inch, as with previous models, is pretty overkill for day-to-day tasks. Still, it's good to see those essential tasks performed so effortlessly, and there was not a single crash or error during my time using it, something I can't always say about similarly priced Windows 11 devices. Apple's complete control over both the software and hardware of MacBooks has again paid dividends, and even if you don't like the way the company does some things, there's no denying that it often results in extremely polished and dependable products, like the new MacBook Pro. For more demanding tasks such as video editing, the MacBook Pro 16-inch, M4 Pro, 2024, again barely broke a sweat as I stitched together 4K footage in Premiere Pro. To be honest, to really make use of the power of the M4 Pro, let alone the much more powerful M4 Max, you're going to need to be a professional filmmaker or 3D animator working on Pixar-quality productions. Everything I threw at it barely gave the new MacBook Pro pause. Of course, this is a great thing. It's a workstation laptop that can rival pretty much any desktop PC and can handle even the hardest workloads. But then, there's always that nagging feeling that you're not making the most of it. It's a strange contradiction that in the end is a testament to what Apple continues to achieve with its M-class chips. Throughout my time, the fans barely kicked in, so while Apple's focus with the M4 Pro is more about performance than efficiency, this is still a very efficient machine that is virtually silent when in use. Ever since switching from Intel chips to its own M-class silicon, Apple's MacBooks have benefited from industry-leading battery lives. While Windows 11 laptops are slowly catching up, especially ones with the new Snapdragon X Elite chip, which like the M4 Pro is ARM-based, if you want a laptop that can go through an entire workday without charging, and isn't a basic Chromebook, then modern MacBooks are the way to go, and the new 16-inch MacBook Pro is no exception. Thanks to a combination of the efficient M4 Pro chip and a larger body that allows Apple to include a bigger battery, the 16-inch MacBook Pro offers one of the longest battery lives of any MacBook, or Windows laptop. In our tests, it lasted a huge 21 hours and 32 minutes, an absolutely incredible result that suggests you could go multiple workdays on a single charge. However, it didn't quite match the battery life of the M3 Max 16-inch MacBook that I reviewed last year, which lasted for 24 hours and 35 minutes in similar circumstances, but that could be down to the M4 Pro's emphasis on performance over efficiency. Still, it's an incredible result considering the power on offer. I worked on the M4 Pro model for an entire train journey from Bath to London, around an hour and a half. England really is quite a small country, and the battery levels hardly dipped. It's a workstation laptop that you can feel confident working on without having to search for a power supply, and when on battery power, it doesn't feel like performance is sacrificed either.